caught in the act. Sorry.
Hello.
That was my fault because I started playing the countdown and said 10 minutes. I'm like, all right, not 10 minutes. That's too long. We can't make people wait that
How is
long.
everybody?
Hello, hello. We have some people here. We just started. We started early and kind of, well, we're 30 minutes early technically than we usually have been. So I think people are catching up.
Are we? I thought we are an hour and 30 minutes early. Or almost an hour and 20 minutes early.
No.
Did we
Are we?
not
Oh,
start
wait.
at 8:30 my time, I think, and it's 7:07.
Well, I think, we just did our time switch in Florida where you spring forward an hour.
Oh, that's why Trevor Noah was talking about that and how
Mm-hmm.
all the senators like decided that we no
Not
longer
to
want to
happen.
do that. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it happened yet.
Yeah, because right now it's 107, so I'm only 30 minutes ahead of schedule. So you're like an hour and a half. Okay, well that worked out perfectly for both of
Yeah.
us.
So I guess it should happen tomorrow for me. Wow, this is so bizarre. It's like we're living in like two different worlds right now.
Parallel universes where we unite
Yeah.
via YouTube, via Rachel Hollis
Yeah.
slander.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh. So everyone's here. I'm assuming everyone knows about Rachel Hollis at this point if they're on our channel,
Who?
right?
Just kidding. Who's that? I'm just joking. Yeah, I think everyone's here for the tea. If you haven't discovered it by now, you're out of luck. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell everybody.
Yeah. She needs no introduction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rachel is you know,
Rach.
Harriet Tubman. Who we have Rachel Hollis in the house.
Who's Rachel? Just think of a mix between Harriet Tubman, Frida Kahlo, Amelia Earhart, and Malala Yousafzai. Like some just some like basically all those women put together. That's Rachel Hollis.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I
Uh,
mean, you couldn't find a better fit of a group for Rachel than that. Like that's those women also sold courses and
yeah.
scammed people. You
Yeah.
know.
Everyone knows about the infamous Harriet Tubman divorce saga. I'm just kidding. They're so relatable. It's all the same
Or
universe.
Frida Kahlo just being like on the local newspaper. I don't want to be relatable. Oh.
Exactly. Boss Babe, Frida, my favorite. But they both have
Yeah.
merch, so they're kind of the same, I
Mm,
suppose.
yeah.
Oh, I'm quiet. Okay, I got a new microphone, by the way. I'm gonna raise myself up. Yeah, always tell me because I never know until later if the audio and stuff's messed up. So, thank you. Also,
Thank you.
can you hear this?
I want to be relatable.
You heard that, right?
Yeah. I
Okay.
thought she doesn't want to be. Wait, hold on. We're getting confused because here's the thing. She has written, I don't know how many books and posted, I don't know how many things on the internet with like stretch marks and stuff, trying to be relatable. But then she says she doesn't want to be relatable. But now she's like, well, actually, I never wanted to be relatable. So I'm like, I'm very confused. Like, Rachel, just just tell us one thing instead of 1700 things that contradict each other.
Well, she told us in a very infamous clip that we're gonna watch now to remind us all about the moment in history, the most relatable moment in history, when Rachel Hollis graced us with her presence on TikTok, which has now her whole account has been since deleted. If you didn't know, she
That's
was
good.
yeah, I think it's better for humanity at large. Her TikTok, just a little background. Her TikTok, she was really focusing on middle school and high school girls because all of her content, not all, but a lot of her content was like, hey girlies, if you have acne in the first period, like you should totally just like wash your face. Like that was her stuff for a while, exclusively on TikTok because I guess someone told her that TikTok was for children. So this is the platform in which she chose to post this video. Just so everyone knows. And here it is. This is I'm so grateful to the Simply Imperfect podcast for for screenshotting this and posting it on YouTube so I can use it over and over again. But this was posted in April 2021. If you can believe it, This is less than a year ago that
Yeah.
this went down. This seems like a decade ago.
Yeah.
And as we listen to the podcast that we're going to review in full, we're going to listen to every minute of it. She tends to forget, like, oh, I forgot everything about that. It's been so long. It's been like 11 months. Relax.
Yeah, it's not been that long.
Yeah.
Chill. You still have some dues to pay. we're not gonna give her a shortcut. Like, that's not happening. I wanted to talk about this and post a video with the thumbnail, "You're still canceled, Rachel."
Yeah.
But I thought it might be too much, so I've not done it yet. I don't
Yeah.
know. What do people think? Is that too much?
No. I said my caption said something like, "You're still missing the point," or something like that. As I say, like, I can't remember. I literally posted it this morning, so I should know. I'm criticizing her for being bad with memory.
I mean, it's in Rachel Hollis land. That would already be like 7 weeks.
one hour ago, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I said something like, "You're
I
canceled," or
grew
something.
since then.
Yeah.
I've become a different person.
I've done the work in the last hour, so I can't be held responsible any longer. Okay, so without further ado, just to catch everybody up, and or if this is the first time you've popped on here from some odd reason, you have no idea what the heck we're talking about. This is the TikTok that officially, sort of, not really, but I think was the last straw that got her canceled. Because she's had other scandals in the past, but this is the one that, like, tipped it over the edge. So here we go, without further ado.
Okay. Yesterday, I was doing a live stream, and I mentioned that there's this sweet woman who comes to my house twice a week and cleans. She's my house cleaner. She cleans the toilets. Someone commented and said, "You are privileged AF." And I was like, you're right. I'm super freaking privileged, but also I worked my ass off to have the money to have someone come twice a week and clean my toilets. And I told her that. And then she said, "Well, you're unrelatable." What is it about me that made you think I want to be relatable? No, sis, literally everything I do in my life is to live a life that most people can't relate to. Most people won't work this hard. Most people won't get up at 4 a.m. Most people won't fail publicly again and again just to reach the top of the mountain. Literally every woman I admire in history was unrelatable. If my life is relatable to most people, I'm doing it wrong.
Boo.
Just to reach the top of the mountain, as if that's not what everyone would love. Just a tiny little thing, just reaching the top of the mountain. Like, I think she really believes that she made it. I think and that's the almost like the sad part to me, because it's like you probably did. That was it.
But you should have enjoyed the moment for a couple more moments, because it's gone now.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Which sucks. She did work hard. That's the sad thing. She did work really hard, but it got to her head or something. I don't know.
But also,
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever heard of this podcast before, by the way?
So I am just vaguely aware of them, but I can't say that I listened to them before, but I did see that she's been on the podcast before, which is why it's kind of an interesting choice to come back on, as if like, oh my God, here's me addressing the masses, but it's like, no, you're just still in an echo chambers, Rach.
Yeah, I know. And I listened to that episode from 2018, and it's funny, and I was gonna include it in my video that I did about this, where I kind of recapped what I thought was the most interesting parts. But she almost said a lot of the same things, but just with a different twist, because she used the same thing. Life happens to you or for you, not to you. She said that in both episodes. So, 3-4 years difference. She still was saying that. She said a couple other things too that were like, other than her still being married to Dave and talking about, she said the number one important thing, or the biggest, proudest thing of her life was her marriage. And I was like, that didn't turn out so great. Yeah. But the rest of it was pretty boring. And I don't know anything about these podcast hosts. People have been commenting saying that they're sort of controversial in their own right. But I think they were so easy on her. they make it seem, they kind of set it up, and we'll talk about it, how they're like, oh, this is like, we ask hard questions. This is not a place for softies. And then it's like they ask like the most softball questions for the most part to her and no follow-up. So it's like,
Yeah, but these are the people that promoted her book, like
Yeah.
when it happened the first time. And I didn't watch that episode. Sorry, listen to that episode. But they said that this is why she came last time, to promote her book. So it's not. This isn't a real address to the nation. This is not
No.
it.
I
This
think,
is still the echo chambers. Like, you can't go on Tony Robbins or something like that and be like, oh my God, here's me discussing. No, no.
yeah, I agree. And I think this was like, I think this is my guess. Obviously not confirmed. I have no idea. But my speculation is that she's working with a crisis management team. So a company that does only PR when you're needing to fix your image, undo damage that you've caused, not like promote yourself, but like just undo the issues. And I think she's working with a team like that, and they've given her certain things to say, and they've probably strategically planned for her to go to certain podcasts, ones that are not in the main group of like Jay Shetty, Mel Robbins, Lewis Howes, Tom Bilyeu, outside of that a little bit. So it seems like she's challenging herself. I mean, these people claim to be like controversial figures, so I think it's like giving the vibe of like, oh, I'm ready to take it responsibility, and it's like, and then I think maybe she'll start to go, I don't know. I think this is part of like a tour, like a forgiveness tour. Like, okay, this is my first stop, and then she's gonna start going on other people's platforms, not ours,
I'm
most
not
likely.
falling for it,
No.
because the thing is, this is like, I'm not even shocked by this decision. She went to these people to promote a book. She is going to go to whatever, to the same people to apologize. I don't understand. It's not quite an apology, because she did stand by it, but not really. She did. I felt called out almost, and I
Oh, yeah.
know
Me too.
that it's probably like not just because there's so many people, but like, we're some of them. So I guess I felt called out, but like, in a way, it's like, you don't know what we do. Like, you're not watching us, you don't know what we do. So when she calls us out, and we're like the people jumping on the bandwagon and whatever to kind of cancel her or whatever, she doesn't really understand what we're doing. So she
Yeah.
just thinks that we're making it a hobby of discussing. We should probably get to that segment so that you guys can get the context, but like,
Yeah.
I felt like she missed the point, because that's not about, we're not looking for, we're not watching her to make it a hobby to like unpack every single word she says. We're watching her expecting and saying quite literally exactly what she needs to do in order to fix it, and she is not listening. She's not listening in the first place. So it's like, you can't keep calling us out and then not even know what we're talking about. Like, it's weird.
I think she's lying too, because she says, she goes back and forth, and she says like, I don't go on social. I don't read comments. I don't look at anything. I don't give my time to it. But then she'll say, people make it a hobby to like call people out. It's like, well, how would you know that if you're not online, if you're not in the know of what's going on social? How would you know that there's people like us that are hobbyists in analyzing her? I mean, how would you know that unless someone either was telling you, but like, I doubt that, or she's consuming the content too. So.
Yeah, and also, I'm sorry, but this is making us money. This is a job at this, what, part-time, but like, it's a job, Rach. It's our job. We have no choice
Super
but to do
freaking
it.
privilege.
Sorry.
I'm super freaking privileged.
That's why she doesn't understand. Like, how be a boss babe, but don't do it if you're gonna talk about me and do it well.
Oh my God, that was so the vibe of this. Like, I can't believe they would do that to me. That's what I got from that. Like, and I'm like, you're not the only one. Like, I've talked about, I don't know how many dozens of people that have been canceled. So,
Join the club.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Rach. Okay, let's start, and then we'll continue, because I feel like a lot of this will be relevant throughout as well. So here we go. Episode 400 something, 443 of the Skinny Confidential podcast. Let's let it rip.
Podcast is a Dear Media production.
She's a lifestyle blogger extraordinaire.
Fantastic.
And he's a serial entrepreneur.
A very smart cookie.
And now Lauryn Evarts and Michael Bosstick are bringing you along for the ride.
Get ready for some major realness.
Welcome to the Skinny Confidential.
Realness.
Him and her.
She's like, there's a big difference between your intention and your impact. Your intention was like, oh, I want to speak to other people like me and maybe inspire.
Yep.
This is going to be a struggle, you guys, because I'm going to have stuff to comment every 2 seconds. How exactly is she coming on here after having published books, after having like millions of followers, and being like, I didn't understand impact? Like, excuse me, bitch. What have you been doing on the internet if you don't understand impact and influence? Like how oh, I didn't know there's a difference between intention and impact. It's like, really?
She forgot everything. She's like, she's playing the really dumb girl card. And I hate that as someone who she claims to support women and lift them up and empower them. She definitely, you know, she says that, but then she acts like, oh, I was just busy. I had to cook dinner, so therefore I can't be held responsible. That's what I felt the whole time listening to this.
Yeah. Let's play because, yeah. 2 seconds more.
30 seconds in. Okay, we're making good progress.
Whatever, but your impact is what you have to take responsibility for. And I like the amount of therapy, coaching, processing, books, like what has happened because of that experience. I am a different human because of the experience.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I was talking a little quieter just now. That clip was from our guest of the show today, Rachel Hollis. And we got a juicy one for you today, guys. We go all over the place. We get deep with Rachel. And what's interesting is we've known Rachel for a little while now, but we haven't talked to her since 2018, Lauren. I was just looking up the episode, episode 129. So we're all the way up in the 400s now. So this is like 300 episodes ago that we first talked to Rachel. And keep in mind, when we first talked to her, I think this was right around the time Girl Wash Your Face was kind of taking off. I don't know if it was in every airport all over the place. Her brand was definitely not what it's become, which is this massive platform. She was married at the time, pre-divorce. So these are two completely different conversations. And I think it's kind of interesting to compare them just because of where she was then to where she is now.
I found Rachel to be incredibly vulnerable in this episode. I think a lot of things that she said will surprise the audience. I think Michael and I are here as a media outlet to showcase all different kinds of opinions. And this episode is one that's worth listening to. I also am a huge fan in my life of hearing where people are coming from. It's something that I'm a very curious person. I'm interested. Instead of just shutting down conversation, I like to open my ears and listen for a minute.
Well, I imagine there's some new listeners just because, you know, Rachel's a big name and she's obviously draws listeners and guests and platform. And for those new listeners, I just want to give you a disclaimer right ahead of time. This is not a safe space. This podcast has not been built to be a safe space. It was
Unless you're a white influencer, then you're safe as hell.
And he's like, that's such a jackass thing to say. Like,
It's not
oh
even
my
true.
God, get over yourself, my dude. Like,
I'd be
this is
fine
not
with
a
it
safe
if it was
space.
true.
Exactly what does that mean? We're gonna bully you on here? Like, what like
We're gonna verbally harass you for the next hour, and if you can't handle it, then fuck you, okay? I don't know. Like I said, I'm all on board. If it's true and you're like gonna ask her hard questions and like keep her accountable and not just like coddle her, great, wonderful. I think that is what journalism is most times, half the time. But that's not what happens. That's why it's like, oh, this big setup, like, ooh, this is gonna be juicy. No, it's not. It's like softball hour. It's like a softball game.
Yeah.
In the
it
public
was
park.
so soft. It was like almost like she couldn't have more pillows.
Exactly. Her bed is full of pillows within this podcast episode. Yeah, I agree. And, you know, they're trying to set it up like she was very vulnerable. Like they're almost like really preemptively saying like, love her. We love her. It's okay to love her. It's like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Anyways. Okay, let's continue.
meant to come out and make you only feel good. Safe spaces are places where you never feel challenged, where you don't have to stretch yourself, where you feel comfortable, right? This is not that podcast, and it never has been. So I just want to put that out there for anybody that's new to the show and hasn't been here for a while. For those that have been, obviously they get that. And the reason
Disney Channel may be a better outlet.
Well, the reason I share that is because Lauryn and I have conversations with all walks of life, all different backgrounds, some loved, some hated.
Don't listen around your kids.
You know, and we have different kinds of conversations all the time. You know, we can have a conversation with an angel and at the same time have one with Satan himself. It doesn't really matter to us.
I had a dime for every time someone told me that I needed to delete an episode or take someone down or not interview them because of XYZ. I would be a billionaire, Michael Bosstick.
Yeah, listen, if we haven't taken that advice for the last 4, 5, 6 years, however long we've been doing this in the last 500 episodes, we're not going to take it now. So for those of you that are willing to kind of hear a different perspective, challenge yourself, not be so upset about not being in a safe space, this one's for you. And for those that need to be coddled and stay in a safe space, maybe turn it off. With that.
It's so patronizing. I hate it. And also, just for the record, in case this is not clear, because I don't know if I make it clear when I do videos, but I don't think Rachel should be deplatformed. I don't think her advice is dangerous in the sense of she's spreading misinformation or, you know, something that can be detrimental to your health or whatever. I think she should post whatever she wants, but then I should also have the rights to make fun of it and criticize it and critique it. My whole point is not to deplatform her personally.
No, I would love for her to stay platform too, because that gives me content.
True.
So, I don't. Yeah, I'm kidding. But the thing is,
but also,
as long as she might not give like bad advice all the time, and she might not necessarily say that the earth is flat and stuff like that, but she might ruin your marriage.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like,
yeah.
Kayla, you're getting married
sometime at some point.
Yeah.
No date
yet. I don't know. Just, I would hate for you and your future husband to go to a conference and end up breaking up because you followed Rachel's advice.
Well, I don't need to take the advice because we have an exceptional marriage, not just a good, great, awesome marriage. We have an exceptional marriage. So we're immune to all problems in the future. So
yeah, and I know you also don't want to be relatable, so that's fine. I'm just thinking. Yeah. But that's my worry. And also it might cost you like $3,000.
That's
like,
it.
You know what I mean?
A small price to pay for eternal love, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That's my personal thing. It's like, I think her advice sucks. I don't think she has good advice. I think you definitely waste your money if you spend your money on her, like advice or anything. But for me, I think everyone has a right to speak publicly about whatever they want to a point. There's a certain threshold. For me, she hasn't crossed it. So the fact that it's like, oh, I would never ever tell them, the podcast, like, take this down, this is horrible. It's like she's lying. There's a lot of not taking responsibility, but that's about where it lands for me.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Can I ask can you guys hear me okay? Because I just had the mini microphone scare.
Oh, it sounds good now.
Okay, good.
We'll see. Okay, now we're gonna start. That was just like the preemptive warning to not be coddled or whatever. So now we're starting the real podcast. Here we go. The second intro, apparently.
Hollis, welcome back to the Skinny Confidential, him and her show.
This is the Skinny Confidential, him and her.
Just listen to this.
I'll let you kick it off.
All right, Rachel. It's been a minute. What the fuck happened? What is going on? I was just going back. 2018 is the last time you've been.
Right.
Lots happened for you, to you, with you.
Oh my gosh.
About you.
Yeah. It's honestly, it feels like a lifetime from 2018 to where we are today. And I'm trying to remember if had the book come out? Is that why I came on the show last time? The Girl Wash Your Face come out?
It was coming out, right? I think that's like you were promoting it, right? Or like we were talking about it.
How crazy.
Like a lot's gone on.
Yeah. So that book utterly changed my life, changed my business, all of it, totally unexpectedly. I had been sort of hustling in obscurity for 8 or 9 years. And that book came out. It was my 6th book. So I have 5 books before that nobody really cared about. And then this book just hit some sort of nerve.
Was everywhere.
Was everywhere, sold millions and millions and millions of copies, still sells a shit ton of copies today, and went sort of from like hustling to, oh my God, now I'm overwhelmed and there's so much opportunity and how do you decide? And
do you think people really still buy the book? Think that's bullshit or that's true?
I think it's in. I don't think I know. All of her books are now discounted heavily, so I don't think they're getting many sales because that's why they end up in the discount pile.
So a shit ton means I sold it in a big wholesale sale to the dollar store or something. I mean, that still makes money.
Well, did she say that she's selling now?
Yeah, she said they still sell a shit ton today. She said it sold millions of copies.
I highly doubt it.
That's what I thought too, but maybe in other countries, I don't know.
I think that she sold before, but not anymore.
That was a little surprising.
Maybe it's just like, okay, but maybe like in terms of, I don't know. Maybe it is some sales, but I don't think it's anything like it was. I think at this point it's just,
according to Rachel, shit ton.
Just someone who's unaware of really who she is and what she's done. Maybe those people, but those would be few and far between at this point.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there's lots of humble brags throughout this whole thing that we can point out.
Yeah.
She'll say something and then she'll say, well, I sell a lot, or I'm comfortable, I make a lot of money. And I want to point out this comment from Kayla. It says, how long until she mentions boothing? She doesn't mention him at all, not once. And there was several opportunities for her to mention him, and she doesn't. So I don't know. I think maybe that was part of the PR strategy, not to bring him up for some reason. I was surprised too.
Yeah. Also, can I mention just how condescending this guy was when he was like, and I love it. This is one of the things that I love. From the podcast where he's like, the 2U, 3U, 4U, 5U. I loved it. I don't know if you heard it. He just said it there.
2U, 4U, 4U, with you.
Yeah. Which number are we at, Rach?
A shit ton, apparently. I know. She'll
Shit
bring
ton
that up
for
later. You. I believe in a world where everyone loves me.
Oh.
Okay. Anyways.
Oh, okay.
Let's go on.
It was pretty wild. That was 2018. 2019 was sort of the life I had dreamed of, the most success I could have imagined, the most money I could imagine, speaking opportunities everywhere, which was always what I had dreamed of, podcast explodes, the whole thing. And it was the most miserable year of my entire life because the amount of work required to stay at that pace and to keep producing and all of it was so overwhelming, and I couldn't be the mom I wanted to be. I was on the road constantly. And I remember talking to someone who had experienced something similar and him saying, you're gonna get burnout and your instinct is going to be to take your foot off the gas. And whatever you do, don't take your foot off the gas. And I think that is the most fucked up advice I've ever been given because I listened.
Just for context too, she told this exact story at Rise, the last Rise, that was like much, much, much smaller than her previous events. And she really set it up as to like, men gave me bad advice and men are to blame for everything that happened wrong in my life. My husband screwed me over, this mentor of mine screwed me over, and that's the advice he gave me, and I just wanted to take my bra off. That was like her quote from the Rise conference. So this is, again, a reused piece of like her story that she's told already before.
And who is that though? Is that Tony Robbins that she's talking about?
I don't know. She said
who would say that? Because it would be a self-help guru. That's what I think. Who would say that you should just keep pushing and pushing. And also, isn't she the one who told people what to do? Like, how come she didn't know what to do when it came to herself? Like, suddenly you don't know that you're in charge and you can choose to, like, spread your things like a little bit more, if you don't want to do that many conferences, if you don't want to do that many MLM, whatever, maybe just do one a year. I don't know. Maybe that would have been a good instinct to follow through with.
You would think, but no. The answer is no. The universe, her spirit guide said no. She's not allowed to know what to do. She can only give advice. That's what the ancient wisdoms told her. So, you can't argue with that.
So interesting. So at the same time that she was telling women at conferences,
MLM conferences who were making no money, because the vast majority, and by vast majority I mean more than 90% of MLM representatives, or whatever they're called, because I think they have a different name in every single one, make no money, and lots of them go in debt. So she's telling those women to keep working hard while she is also working really hard and burning herself out, but for a lot of money.
Yeah. I would be totally okay with her saying this if she then said, and I took his bad advice and I gave it to women and I apologize for that. And that was a mistake. And now I see the error of my ways and I have completely changed. If she would just add that sentence, I'd be like, okay, taking accountability, changing her mind. I'm all for it. But like just her admitting it, I took bad advice and then no follow. Like, okay, but the reason why people are mad about that is because then you gave that advice to others. But there's no accountability. There's just only like, oh, poor me. This happened to me. I took bad advice. It's like, so what?
This is her setting up the fact that she may have made mistakes because she was so thinly spread. I think this is what she's doing. But the thing is, like, you can't say no. Like, it's not like you are, you know what I mean? Like, you always get emails from people who are asking, even us, and we have like very few followers in comparison. Like I have like 800 Instagram followers, and I get messages sometimes, and I welcome all conversations, but I will say no if I don't want to do an idea, or I will just explain myself or something. Like, you don't have to do everything that people are asking you to do. And obviously this was a money game, and she was desperate to be a mogul. So obviously she's not just spreading herself thin for nothing. You know what I mean? She was trying to do it for money. So maybe she should have done some self-reflection and said, I was doing this because it was earning me a lot of money. But she did say that she was earning a lot of money, but she maybe should have come to the conclusion that money isn't everything. But no, her conclusion is we're all wrong for canceling her.
Yeah, it's a dog pile, and we'll hear that word a few times throughout this podcast. And I just want to say the previous podcast, the same podcast, but the episode that she was on before in 2018, she's literally teaching Lauryn in the podcast how to say no. And that was her advice. Like, the hardest thing I learned and the best thing I learned was how to say no. And girl, you need to just tell them no. She's like, every yes that you don't really want is a no to your family, to your husband, to your happiness. So I learned that, it's okay to say no. That's what she said in 2018 on the same podcast. And now she's saying like, oh, I was stretched so thin, blah, blah, blah. So I agree. This shit's trying to set up this scenario like, oh, this overworked mother, how could you possibly blame her and judge this poor unknowing about, she doesn't even know the difference between impact and intention. She's so just overworked. It's like, get over it. I'm not buying it.
It's just like a dummy working really hard.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now she goes on.
And I ended that year completely depleted. And 2020 then, I think, was sort of the fall apart of 2 years of extreme just working so hard. And I'm sure you guys have experienced this at some point of like, the success happens and you don't even really know how to deal with it or what it means. And you sort of need your spirit to catch up to where your brand is.
I think we've experienced it a little bit, but much slower, right? Like it happened. I mean, when I say your book was everywhere, everybody knows the book. I mean, every fucking airport, every bookstore, every news channel, everywhere. And I think that type of success, it's very rarely experienced that speed. Like most people, especially what's been in my career, Lauryn, where you work long, like you were.
Yes.
And like you have these things, like we always say, there's never been an epiphany, right? Like it's like, all of a sudden you look around like, oh, we're a little more further, a little better, a little better.
You can point to an ephany.
But yours was out
Yeah.
of nowhere,
Right.
mass scale.
Right. And what's crazy too is that the book was not a success right out of the gate. So
What
it came out.
Well,
what
she
epiphany is she pointing out to? Because I don't understand why he's like, unless he can read her mind and just see what's gonna come next.
let me
Like,
tell you about what your life looks like from my
So
perspective as a
you,
man.
Rachel,
As a
you have an
stranger.
epiphany. I am sure you're gonna really talk about it in this episode.
Well, I think what they're saying is that when Girl Wash Your Face was like the big meteoric rise to fame. Like she was, she had some success, whatever, but instead of slowly growing over time, that book came out and she just like transformed to like the highest level of celebrity possible.
But that's not what an epiphany is for like. What's his name? We need to tell him what an epiphany is.
Michael.
It's more of a realization that you come to. It's not that you become famous.
Yeah, like your epiphany
Michael.
was. I guess it's like the catalyst would be a better word. Like, what was the thing that
Yeah.
really got you to grow really fast? Okay, well, it was this book that came out, and I remember there was a vlog where she and Dave. It was like Dave was doing the vlog for some reason, and Rachel was like crying because the book did not hit the New York Times bestseller list in the first week,
oh
and
my
she was
god.
like,
But she's so not relatable. Like, seriously.
I mean, I think Dave's a jerk for putting the camera in her face at that moment, but come on, like, relax.
I don't know, because I maybe he did, but I think that she was the one wanting, like, she was the influencer. She was the one who always wanted to be filmed and whatever.
True. That's true.
And I think she might have done it preemptively, being like, I know that, in case my book hits the whatever, I'm gonna show just how painful. But like, it's like, okay, but that's not just because you publish something and you're famous because of it. You can take all the success and all the thing that comes with it. You don't have to be like, but it didn't get the biggest prize. Like, it's okay, maybe, like, I don't understand, why is that like an entitlement to the fact that you got a book that already did really well? Like, why are you also entitled to be on like the New York Times bestseller list?
Because she's made for more. I don't know.
True.
They're all like egomaniacs. That's the real reason. I mean, that's why Dave had a literal meltdown on Instagram, because his book was not, it was appearing obvious that his book was not going to take off in the way he wished, even though he begged people for weeks and weeks to pre-order and buy the book. And here's Heidi, look at her abs, like, buy my book. And it still didn't work. So he literally had a breakdown.
See, like, maybe he should have taken something from like his Disney career and just like photographed the book like between her crotch and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Hollywood has done that a lot across the decades, I guess.
Well, were you aware that there was a live stream where Heidi walks, like, he's doing an interview with Mel Robbins. It's like a Instagram live, whatever. And he's strategically, I don't know if it's on purpose, but he's sitting, and then his screen, there's a mirror. So behind him, he can see what's behind this computer. Anyways, Heidi walks out with like no top on for like a minute, like 60 seconds back and forth. She's got like no bra, no top. She's totally naked, and she's walking around, and people, I guess, in the stream start saying something. So he just slowly moves the screen away from the mirror, and then they took it down, edited her out, and then reposted it. It's like, and that was to promote his book.
Okay. Here's the thing. I've heard that story in a completely different context.
Really?
From like someone who was like on a call with the commissioner from LA, and his wife, girlfriend, whatever, came in the background and she was naked. Like, I've heard that story. Is this a story that is cliche that Dave tried to I don't understand, because it's only these two things, but this was like a work related, or like completely unrelated, a work thing. When I was
marketing. They're like, we're gonna do guerrilla marketing here. Because it was a weird angle. It wasn't even like a good, like, it didn't look like his normal content. So maybe you're right. That's why I think Freudian slip, where I was like strategically placed by a mirror, because it looked like, why would you set it up this way? Anyways, who knows?
Interesting.
Yeah. So if you ever,
Yeah.
I'll send it to you later. I recorded it because it was too good not to. So if you want to see it.
Oh, I don't know if I want to.
I mean, it's blurry, but you can see like, oh my God, you can see enough. Anyways, okay. Let's continue.
Like a handful of people cared. The diehard fans who had been there forever, they cared. But it took 3 months for it to hit the New York Times list. So it really was this very organic thing. And kind of the fan base took ownership of it, which is beautiful and amazing and did change my life and my family's life. But also when the fan base takes ownership of something, they also sort of take ownership of you.
Really though, let me tell you about my.
Okay, that point, and this is, I think, an overall theme. She's blaming her fans for creating the image that she now has to live up to. Whose fault? I don't really understand what she means, because who didn't say that she's she's the one who comes up with all the content. So she's like, oh, the fans created this image for me. I don't get this whole line of thought.
I did notice that there was a lot of rhetoric in the podcast about how the fans need to take responsibility for the criticism and how we should. It's like, okay, but what about the person that you have right there? Because obviously you can't talk to me because I'm not there, but Rachel is there. Why don't we take it one by one and first keep Rachel accountable? Once we've done that successfully, maybe we can move on and talk to the audience, or to me. You can talk to me, Michael, Matthew, whatever your name is. I'm here for it if you want to have a chat. Like, I can justify myself all day just like Rachel.
Yeah. I didn't mean to start an entire channel in which I talk about her. I just wasn't thinking who is Rachel? I don't even know who she is. Like, I don't know. Like my page, like that's basically what we would do.
I really did not mean to start a channel about Rachel Hollis.
Neither did I.
But
I was like, I'm gonna just do it once, and like this is interesting, and then it became like I don't know. It's like it's like D&D, like the Dungeons and Dragons. Like it's a whole universe that's ever expanding, and I can't stop learning about it.
Yeah, same. I feel like I don't want to post about Rachel anymore, and it's turning out to be relatively impossible not to post about her, because she keeps she keeps on doing things that are not okay. So
still
this.
Yeah, still she rises. Apparently.
Yes. Well,
quote by Rachel Hollis.
Maya Angelou, who
I was like, who is Maya? Like, I don't know who that is. And anyways, my team, it's their fault. Okay. All right. So fan blaming is very frequent throughout this podcast, as you'll hear.
Skinny Confidential Facebook group that I had to shut down.
Right. Right. Oh, I remember you talking about this
different scale, but I empathize with what you're saying.
It's pretty crazy. So in the success of the book, the business that I've been doing for a while, which was, I had a lifestyle blog and I did conferences and speaking engagements, all of that exploded with it. And everything since then, it was sort of like rising to the highest point of the mountain. And where I find myself today at the start of 2022 is wanting to get back and have done a pretty good job of getting back to what I actually want to be doing, not what everybody else would like me to do. Because I'm sure you guys have had this too, where something's successful and then all of a sudden every brand, every agent, every manager, every press out, like everybody wants, oh, what if you did? And you're like, oh, I've been working so hard and here's all this opportunity. And you just start saying yes to everything and you sort of get lost in that. So
what is it that you really want to do?
Right. Yeah. Make content, create.
Well, she was saying, like writing. I thought
I've
she was
never
like,
answered the question with right. Like,
but did she mean like writing and then also said right? Like right?
No.
And then right. Like confirming writing.
She did not say right as in writing in there.
Oh.
What she said is like,
right.
I'm just like setting up for a long ass answer here. Right. Okay. Let's give this a big answer.
Yeah.
And her as, oh my God. Okay. Let's go.
No, I agree. Because I was like writing, right. She's going to write. She's been right. From 2018 when Girl Wash Your Face came out, she's put 2 books out since then. It's only 4 years later. That's pretty on target.
She's not saying, I can bet that she's saying the same right she said to Tony Robbins. Right. You know, like
Yeah, a lot
right.
of rights.
Righty.
Right.
Because that's her thing. That's her thing. That's what she does.
Maybe
She
it's going to be
writes
Rachel's rights.
things.
Rachel's right. The Rachel Hollis confirming my beliefs channel.
You know what? I'm just thinking right now. Like there was, I can't remember who it was, but it was like a makeup YouTuber who came up with a line of makeup called canceled, because she got canceled. So I'm just like, I just remember the promotional pictures, and like I'm thinking maybe Rachel will write a book called Canceled, and you know that would be, I mean, Rachel, if you're listening, copyright claim that book.
Canceled. The Rachel Hollis story. No, it'd be called Dogpile. The Rachel Hollis tragedy. God.
Oh my
All
God.
right.
Stuff. And the more successful I got as a writer, the further away I got from being able to write. There's no time. I don't have the space or the freedom to think. I'm, just going from one spot to another, whether it's travel or meetings, or I want to make cool shit with cool people. That's my mantra.
That's her mantra, just in case you didn't know.
Oh, so what happened to bullcrap?
Oh no, that's over. Makeouts are hardcore porn. That's how she's gonna now describe her her adventures with her boyfriend. Makeout sessions are last year.
She started cussing, and I find it really jarring. I cuss a lot, so it's not like because of that, but it's just because she used to be like, oh my God, bull crap, excuse me, I don't want to upset anyone. Like, okay. And now it's like, I want to do cool shit with cool shit people. Like,
Cool shit with cool. I'm a cool girl now. I am no longer a Christian girl. I am cool girl.
yeah.
I mean, and also she's talking about I think this is her point too, with this whole thing about like, I can't even write anymore. I was so busy with like meetings and such. Okay, but again, 2018 was when Girl Wash Your Face came out. 2021, she was already canceled and came out with a book in 2021, I believe. Or was it 2020 or 2021? I don't know. Whenever she got
2021.
divorced. Okay, so she had Girl Wash Your Face. Girl Stop Apologizing. Didn't see that coming. So within 4 years, I'm saying, like, when did you not, how many books did you want to write at that time? Like 25? Like, you had exactly the amount of books I think any mainstream author would have in a 4-year period. Personally.
Yeah. And also, it's always a choice what you do. It's not like if you prefer to write and let someone else do the conferences, hire someone or whatever. But didn't she say to Tony Robbins or Tony Robbins said to her, because he can read in her mind, of course, just like this guy, knowing that she has an epiphany. These men just are so, their intuition beyond belief. So Tony Robbins said to her, like, oh, it wasn't enough for you. You also wanted to be on stage or something like that. And she was like, right. Because, like, you can't speak with Tony Robbins. You can just nod or say right. But
she's like, I'm trying to be the next Oprah on that podcast. She's like, I'm trying to be next Oprah here.
Yeah, like Oprah doesn't write.
No. She's a media mogul, which is what Rachel wants to be.
If Oprah produces books or releases books, they're not written by her. She would have ghostwriters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe Oprah will sit down and write a book. I just don't can't picture it.
Yeah, I agree. And
like go on.
I cut you off. Yeah, I don't know. I think she doesn't know what she wants to be. Rachel doesn't know because, a couple years ago, she was like a media entrepreneur, which is a totally different career than being an influencer, because you have to do payroll and buying property and all that stuff, like business stuff that she was like, oh, this is my passion in life, is business. Okay, now she doesn't even do that anymore. Now she's like, I just want to make cool shit with like who? And what does that even mean? It's so general, like crochet? Like, what are you making here?
Rachel wants to, I think she wants to be successful. She wants to be in the eye of the public. I think she wants to be a speaker.
Yeah.
I believe that maybe she did want to be a writer before when she was young, and writing that book was also the reason she got so successful. So she might continue. She's also quite good at it, to be honest,
Yeah.
as a writer. But I don't believe that she wants to do that. Like I see books at this point, especially, this is not a commentary on literature. Literature is amazing, literally studying it. So, not that's not what this is. But self-help is not literature. So it's literature in the sense that, it's words written on pages, but it's not literature. So I believe that these self-help books are just products that she's releasing, and all of them are just releasing it as a product. In fact, what's his name, the black guy who's like really old, who's a self-help guru,
Oh, yeah, I know who. God,
Lev,
Les Brown.
Les Brown. I bought his book in November because he came up with another book. He came out with a lot of books, so I bought his book to, like, I was planning to review it, and I literally couldn't get through like 20% of it because it's his speeches on paper,
Great.
like exactly in that way, the way he speaks, and with repetitions, like the same stories coming up and up, because, like, when you're talking, it's a different thing and you might repeat yourself a lot, but in books you're not meant to, because you have an editor who takes things out and stuff like that. This was like him talking like exactly with the same style of just jumping from one thing to the other with no, like, and I was like, this is not this guy being like, oh my God, I have something to say to the world and I want to write it in a book. This is just someone taking his speeches, putting them, slapping them on paper, and being like, here's another product for you to make money from.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a whole industry. Self-help writing is, and now it's self-publishing. It's like a whole thing. It's a whole industry within itself. Is like anyone could be a self-help writer. Anyone, people. I mean, people that really I think are kind of vulnerable population is pitched these things like write your life story down and then make millions of dollars. It's like, why? What does this person have to offer? But the people who are telling them to do this are manipulating them, thinking that they have a chance to like share their wisdom from living a normal life with everyone else, which, maybe one out of the million could, but it's not likely that it's going to be a slam dunk success like Girl Wash Your Face was. So yeah.
And this is actually one of the criticisms that Savvy has for Marie Forleo, because Marie Forleo is one of the people that's pushing this like author MLM type thing, where you're getting into instead of writing, you're just kind of getting into this pyramid scheme of trying to get other authors under you, paying you, and essentially nobody's writing anything. It's just you're just telling others to write and how to write or whatever, but like nobody's ending
actually
up
writing
with a book.
It's like Jen Sincero too. She started her career after going to seminars to learn how to make money and spending 80 grand to do it. She became a how to write a book coach. Meanwhile, she had never written a book, but she's going to be coaching people about how to write a book. Like, okay. And she's like telling this story as if like, if I could do it with no experience, you could also just pretend you have experience and rip people off. It's that easy. It's like, okay, yeah, it might be that easy, but that's ethically not good, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think that it's an insane scam, because here's the thing. Everyone has a story and everyone knows how hard it is to get through that life story and stuff like that, and you can be tempted by that, and you know that you've gone through some stuff, and it's probably you have lessons to share, and those lessons are valuable. But the thing that makes these books go viral has nothing to do with the story. There's so many talented writers writing excellent stories who never come like in the mainstream media. Nobody discovers them because of marketing. What makes these books go viral is like a lot of marketing power going behind them. It's not that they have the best story or they have like the most insane story or whatever. It's that they have the connections in the industry and the amount of money that is necessary behind them to propel them into fame. That's what it is. And they're trying to sell the fact that it's the story that is good, but it's not.
Well, that's it.
Like the story could be completely average. Like the Les Brown thing is literally a speech.
Yeah. It's a really long speech. You're run on sentence.
That's not even a story, but he's famous. So because he has
Mm-hmm.
the fame and these like publishing houses have like an incentive to publish that book, it's
yeah.
absolute trash. But they're
And-
gonna do it because it's a cash grab.
Yeah, and if you remember too, Rachel Hollis's first book, or well, I don't know if it's her first book ever, but one of the books that she made, the fiction book, she tried to pitch it. She tried to get it published. No one wanted it. And not Girl Wash Your Face, but the other ones. And so she self-published her first book, which takes money, which takes some sort of, capital to do that. And then she would go and like do speeches and then give the book out or sell the book. And because people started organically buying it or liking it because she was going around pitching it to people, then a small publishing house said, okay, we'll buy the book, we'll buy the rights, we'll relaunch it because now we see that the numbers are there. And that's how she got started even having a relationship with a publisher. But if she didn't have that upfront capital to be able to do that and prove that the book would sell, then her story would have been done there. And a lot of people that have dreams, their story ends when they don't have the cash to be able to take it to that next level and go, okay, well, I'm going to try this other way. This other door is going to open for me. Which is disappointing and needs to be pointed out. Like, I mean, she did talk about it, so, to be fair, it's not like a secret, but it's not just because of hard work. It also was because she had money to be able to try it. Anyways, okay.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah. I want to make stuff that I really love and I'm passionate about, even if other people don't get it. And that means that I can't keep only telling women ideas for how to make their life better. Because it was like you become successful in one way and then that's all anybody wants from you. Tell us something else. And I'm like, y'all,
So
I give you 3 books.
So walk us.
Isn't that a weird comment? Like, oh, everyone wanted that from me. It's like you are following the money. That's like any business does. If you wanted to talk about dinosaurs, you could have done that too. But you were following where people were paying you.
And it's something that we have to kind of, I don't know if struggle is the word, but like it's something that we have to face every time, like even me and you. And every time we post a video, we at this point I can somewhat predict what is going to be more popular and what's not.
Sure.
But then there's a point where you're like, hey, I know this might be more popular, but what I want to do is this other thing. So I'm going to do this other thing instead, even though it's not going to be as popular. And that's something that she was faced with, and she didn't make that choice to publish the books or whatever, to write a book that, because before she was writing fiction. She could have written, the next book didn't need to be Girls Start Apologizing. The next book could have been
Fiction.
just what was it called? She had a series called
Party Girl and
Party Girl. She could have published Party Girl. She didn't want to.
Well, Party
She
Girl
went for the
is
popular
also, yeah, and Party Girl is based on her life loosely too, about being an event planner in LA. That's what she was doing, and she wrote a book about it, fictional book, but like the main character apparently was based on Dave and like all this stuff. So it's like she had a taste of it, and it was still based on her in some ways. So I don't know. I think she just she likes being the center of attention, which is nothing wrong with that, but she's making it seem like I just want to make stuff behind the scenes. Like, no, you don't. At least her content doesn't reflect that at all.
Her tattoo doesn't say writer or behind the scenes. Her tattoo says mogul. Mogul means someone who has money. That's it.
Powerful.
That's what that means. It doesn't mean that you're famous. It doesn't mean that you're a writer. It doesn't mean anything else. It just means that you have money. So, Rach, unless you get another tattoo or something, I don't know what to tell you.
That might be in the works. She got some tattoo. I don't know what it is, but she got something with like a big old compass on it, like here. I can't see. I haven't seen a full picture, but
You'll
we'll
definitely
find that out.
not say writer.
No, it says like her astrological sign or something. I don't know.
Okay.
So I think to contextualize, because like I said, I mean, there's so many things that have happened since 2018. When you first wrote the book, what did your personal life look like and your team look like? Like, I mean, was it a small operation? Was it a big operation?
Yeah.
And at what point do you start like building an operation?
Yeah. So it was 6 people in LA.
Okay.
And I mean, that was like a social media person and a, brand partner and like all of that stuff. And then when we moved to Austin, we moved the business to Austin and we were a team of 14. So we grew a little bit. And then
this was primarily speaking and books and just that type. Okay.
Yeah. And this is like a before and after moment for me. So the book had come out, it was starting to get really popular, but I just wasn't super conscious of what it was doing. And then we put a conference on sale. I remember standing in this little office here in Austin with our team of 14, and we were putting tickets on sale for our conference. And it was going to be in Dallas. And it was, I lied. It was in Minneapolis and it was 3,800 seats. And every year I had done a conference and got a little bit bigger and bigger, 3,800 seats. And I was
What was the first year you started doing conferences and started
2017.
Okay.
So she's talking about 2018 now. So she said, my first conference was 2017. And then she's like, so that was the first conference, I guess she's talking about. So the last conference happened in 2021. That's like, what, 4 years? That's not a lifetime of knowledge. Like, so many conferences, so much, whatever. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm missing the point or why she's like driving this point home. Like, the growth was crazy.
What annoys me in this segment is that she's trying to say she wasn't aware of just how big it is. But in order for you to be able to sell tickets to a conference, you need a venue. Mm-hmm. In order for you to have a venue, you're going to look at the venues that are available and you're going to be like, that's not big enough. That's not big enough. That's not big enough. I'm going to go for that huge stadium. Mm-hmm. When you purchase that venue for your conference, you probably need to put a deposit down. Yeah. This isn't some like, oh my God, it suddenly just sold 3,800 tickets. I just didn't know where it was this guy. It's like, no, those are the tickets that you paid a deposit down from, that you probably had a contract with that stadium or whatever it is with. Like, you knew. What she probably wants to say here is, we sold too few. Like, we should have gone for like the other stadium that was like way bigger. Mm-hmm. And we didn't realize, but she realized it was going to be big. She knew it was going to be big, but she just didn't she didn't know it was going to be maybe like twice as much.
Well, yeah, she's making it seem like, we sold the first one, we sold a couple tickets, whatever. And then the next one we sold out. And then she'll say, it's coming up in a second, but she'll say, and like, the fans just demanded that we do another one. So she's really, again, taking all the blame of like, okay, if you didn't like to do conferences, you wanted to write, you should have just done that. She goes, well, no, the fans forced me. The fans were so disappointed that they had saved all year and couldn't go. That's why we did more conferences. It's like, okay, but then she'll say later, like, conferences were how we made money as a company. That's why I laid off everybody, because conferences were our bread and butter. So she really just jumps around and like, whatever that sentence makes her look the best, she'll just say whatever, and then it doesn't have to necessarily correlate in an hour or in 10 minutes. She just says whatever makes her look best at that second, is what I've taken from this.
But
podcast.
She said that to Tony. She said to Tony Robbins that she wanted to be there on stage and do her own conferences. So it's not really the fans' fault that they liked what she produced.
Mm-hmm. Well, appreciate it is. Apparently,
it's not like the fans'
fault.
It's not like the fans were like, we know you hate this, Rachel, but we would really appreciate it if you did another conference for us. And she'd be like, okay, guys, I guess, like, if you insist so much. No, she literally said to Tony Robbins, I wanted to be on my own stage. And like, and I'm trying to say, this is kind of obvious, but I'm trying to say, like, she literally said the words.
Yeah.
To in what, a week ago, not even a week ago.
Yeah, it was not that long. She said she was in Miami like maybe a month ago. She did the interview. She posted it a week ago. Like, yeah, this is not like, in 2005 I said this. It's so different than what I am now. This is like within a month from listening to this. So yeah.
And it's not us assuming and taking it too far. It's stuff she's saying with her own mouth.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. Okay, here we go.
Here in Austin, 150 people in the Hyatt ballroom.
Okay.
Just there.
So it started small.
Started very small. And by the way, it was like, we did like buy one, get one tickets. Like 150 people didn't even sell out. It was like we were doing everything we could. So,
The reason I'm asking is I
Yeah.
think like people look at you now and they think like these massive conference,
Right.
massive events. And I
Right.
just want to paint a picture of like the scale and the speed.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So 2017, it was like, do you want to invite your mom? Like literally we just wanted to fill the seats because we had already paid for the hotel room. So we're standing in this little office here in town. The book had come out and we had 3,800 people. It was supposed to be in Minneapolis. And I was like, am I about to go bankrupt? Like, because when you plan an event, you got to put the money up and like hope to God you can sell the tickets. And I remember we're all standing around and we put the tickets on sale. And the accountant was the one watching the website. We're all just like celebrating, like, yay, silly, whatever. And she was like, oh, we sold, 30 tickets. And we were like, holy shit, we sold 30 tickets. And then she was like, oh, we sold 300 tickets. And it was so fast. And that conference sold out in 30 minutes. And I remember the 14 of us standing around and no one said anything. It wasn't even celebratory because we just didn't know what had happened. So I went from all these years where I was like barely selling tickets to suddenly we sold 4,000.
All these years, it was 2017 was the first year. By 2018, she's saying she's selling out. How many years are you talking about? What is she talking about?
She's been to little things. Like I've seen like videos of her when she was just like trying to make it as an influencer, as a blogger, whatever. She would go to these like little things, but they weren't her conferences or whatever. They were,
That doesn't count.
where she was invited to speak or something, but you could see her be shit at it. So I guess that was her being like, look how much better you can get when you just speak so many times. Like, yeah, okay, got it.
Yikes.
Not everyone is shit. Like, there's people who are talented.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, she's trying to really paint this picture of like, because she wants it to seem like, she says overwhelmed about 1 million times in this podcast, how overwhelmed, like if you were to put yourself in her shoes, like, oh, we have 10,000 subs, right? For, our channels respectively. If we just went to 1 million tomorrow, how that would feel, how crazy that would be, all the responsibility we would now have to like have this big of an audience. Like, but it's not that. It really wasn't that. I don't know. Well, I guess it was
No,
that.
because she just said, she literally said that they had an accountant and they had bought all these places. So imagine you must go through some sort of like thought process when let's say me and you started a conference and we'd be like, okay, we're gonna buy something with like 50 places because let's be serious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not gonna be like, and if the 50 places sell out, we're not gonna be like, oh my God, I can't believe what just happened.
Wow.
It's like, no, we kind of assumed that number would be accurate.
Yeah, she's acted like a passenger in this whole journey, like a viewer, a voyeur of her own life. It's like, you were in control the whole time. Don't try to act like you weren't. And yeah, I think like you just said, if this has happened to us, I think you'd be like, wow, that was amazing. I wasn't expecting it, but okay, yeah, it makes sense. Great. Not like, we didn't know anything. We were just sitting there staring at the walls because we didn't know what was happening. How we sell tickets, how we do that. Like, come on, Anyways, we're going to get through this though because we got, let's see, 45 minutes of time and we have an hour left of this podcast. We'll skip to the ads though. That's at least like 5 minutes of time. Okay.
30 minutes. And not only that, but then the fan base who had saved for a year.
Can we do it on double speed?
Couldn't get tickets to it. So immediately people were like, have another one. So we planned an event in Dallas for a month later, put those tickets on sale, and that sold out in an hour. And that was 8,000 people. And that was like a before and after. I was like, what just happened? Still not entirely sure what just happened. But yeah, that was a big deal.
That's a lot of people.
The pressure and the energy that takes.
Yes.
I don't even know how you had the capacity to have 4 children, a husband. Like that is
okay. I gotta make a comment. I won't stop it again for a while, but Lauryn in this podcast, she's doing the opposite. She's saying the same thing, but trying to do it in a polite way, where you ask a woman who's running for president, well, how are you going to be a mom and run for president? And it's like, do you ask any man that? Like, they're all fathers. Like, you don't ask, like, how could you be a dad and president, And she's doing the same thing, but saying, like, she should be forgiven for all faults because she's a mother. She had kids. How are you supposed to, like, know how to run a business if you have kids? Either way, it makes women look stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my, and that's not the only time. She'll bring it up like several times. Like, oh, but you had kids though. It's like, who cares? Anyways.
Right. I think, I don't know. To me, there isn't, the energy changes 8,000 people versus speaking to 100.
Yeah.
But I would speak to 100 people the same way I speak to 8,000 people, or I've had the opportunity to speak to 20,000 people. My style doesn't change based on the size of the room.
But don't they want to meet you afterwards and
Not
engage?
all of them.
Not all
of
of
them. Yeah. So it definitely is a lot more extreme, because when I first did the conference here in Austin, that was one day versus a Rise conference now is a 3-day thing. And I might be on stage for 4 or 5 hours. So it's very intense. But also the audience is giving you so much energy, and you're sort of, it's like a symbiotic relationship, and it's fun. So yeah, it was a trip. I don't know. I tend to jump into the deep end and figure that I'll learn how to swim once I get there.
Okay, skip this ad.
Like, forget it. I have 15,000.
And it's also
tennis shoes with
BetterHelp.
options too. An exclusive.
Yeah, I noticed.
When did you start seeing your social media experience hate? Was as your book grew more and more popular, did you start to see that's going to come with success?
Yeah.
You look at the Kardashians. I was just talking about this the other day, and like, they've heard every single thing that there is to hear about the way they look, their body, et cetera, et cetera. They got to have tough skin.
Right.
When was there was there a point that you can remember thinking, wow, this is tons of positive, but it's also shifted to negative?
Well, not to the extent that exists today for everybody on social, because social now is like fucking wild. But I came up with social. So I had a lifestyle blog for the longest time. So I was, back when Facebook was something we all were excited about instead of something but back on Facebook and having groups and having a page and posting every day, like 2010, 2011, like really doing the work there. So it ended up being awesome back then, because you could interact, just like when you had your Facebook group, right? You could interact with your fans and hear how their life was, and it would inspire content that you would create. It was amazing. But even back then, I think, respectfully to women, because I love women, but groups of women can be catty. And so that
this is the total opposite of what she said on that Tony Robbins podcast, because he said, oh, women get together and they support each other too much that they can't grow. And she's like, right, yeah, I know that. It's like, this is the total opposite. Now she's saying they're too catty to each other.
Because she's trying to play into that same narrative of like, it's because of them that, they're just exaggerating, they're being catty and whatever. I don't know if I can, I feel like it's almost like insulting when she says stuff like that, because I see myself in those women, and I am one of those women because I post content, and it's not a comment, sure, it's videos, but like, I feel almost insulted in being called catty, because that's not at all what my content is. At least that's not what I see.
Yeah, I agree. If I was like, if we had a channel where we looked at people's outfits and hair and go, oh my God, she looks like a loser, that would be catty in my opinion. Or be like, oh wow, this person, she vacationed in this place, poor. Like, that to me is hater, troll, catty, those things. When you're looking at content or analyzing it, I don't personally think it's, I don't know, I don't think it's catty. And we happen to be women, so I feel like my worldview matches more with like who these people are trying to appeal to. I don't know. Whenever I do a video about a man, it never does well, so I'm like, okay, well, I'll take a break on the men videos. I blame YouTube for that, not my fault.
I know. That's not my fault. It's the algorithm.
Yeah.
But it's not the fans. Here's the thing. I'm not going to blame my fans.
Yeah. It's all the fans' fault. God. Anyway.
Yeah, it was when I first started your comments. And back then, it was about motherhood. Always. That was always what women attacked me for. And now, God, it seems so insane in 2022 how much I could be hurt by some stranger on the internet saying that I was a bad mom because I was a working mom. Like, it seems so antiquated and ridiculous.
I think it's because it shifted, right?
Yeah.
Because before it was a platform, like you said, where you engage. I remember when Lauryn used to go in and respond and answer to everyone and do it. And it's like, I think that's how these were envisioned to that's why they were created, was to connect people and to engage and all these things. But over the years, I think it's become more about spectating, right? And people aren't really engaging as much anymore. It's like just commenting on people's lives. Like,
But
a lot of
we're
times,
not at SeaWorld. We're not Shamu.
Right. But not even, and now it's not even that, just commenting. It's like a hobby. It's a hobby to go and try and find something wrong with what someone said. And sometimes it is wrong. But others, you're like, wow, how did you even get? And the amount of the thought process now. I was talking to Jay Shetty about this on his.
Okay. I guess that's us, right? I mean, I'm assuming that's what she's talking about. But like, what are we supposed to do? Like, she doesn't go on social. So I can't talk to her because she's too big and too amazing. So what am I supposed, as a viewer of her, this is my only outlet, is to make content about her. And I'm, it's not anonymous because I put my face on it and stand by it.
I take a little bit of offense with this. I can't engage with people anymore. Because, like, what exactly is stopping you, Rach?
Yeah.
If you could do it before, what exactly is stopping you from responding to comments? What exactly is stopping you from, and okay, let's say there's too many comments and you don't, and sometimes I get too many comments and like it gets overwhelming and whatever, but that doesn't mean I can't in my next video address something, or like we can, like what we're doing now, which is live and people are here and they're talking with us, or you know even this idea of a podcast on a different platform, like with the Skinny Confidential, is still engaging, but like try, I don't know, like I'm just a little like, how exactly can you not engage with your fans? Isn't that the point of being an influencer and being a famous person? Like
You
you're
could.
selling things,
Yeah.
you're trying to, you have sponsors, you're trying to push products and stuff like that, you're selling that. So when you, let's say somebody clicks on your link and whatever, you're getting ad revenue, or you're getting um I don't know, affiliate revenue, whatever it is that's nice probably, right? That's you engaging with the fans, but in a way that is like monetarily productive for Rachel. But
Yeah.
like when the fans are like, "Hey, we have stuff to ask you," suddenly she can't engage. Like, oh my god, it's impossible. I don't know how to do it. Like,
How
really?
does computer work? Me no know that. That's what it sounds like. 'Cause it's like, yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, it could be overwhelming, but she's making it seem like, I think she's not okay. She set herself up as overwhelmed in the first half and later on too. She's so overwhelmed. The time period was so overwhelming for her. Now she's trying to set up the internet as this evil, disgusting, dark hole of a place with just these people that just want to attack you for no reason. They come out of the shadows and just go, she's trying to make this horror picture seem of like what the internet is. So she's putting these pieces together so that when she has to explain why she was canceled, it's like, well, I was overwhelmed. The internet's a horrible place. Put those two together. I'm canceled. Boo-hoo. I feel so bad for myself. Buy my next book or whatever. Watch my
No,
musical.
but here's the thing. The internet is not like a compulsory thing. It's not like it says somewhere in the IRS that unless you're on the internet, you don't exist in the United States or something. You can very well, if the internet is this dark, awful, terrible place, why don't you just not be on the internet? You know what I
Other
mean? Like,
jobs.
nobody is forcing you.
Yeah. There's other jobs.
And in fact, I've noticed, yeah, there's other jobs, and I've noticed, sometimes like when I do stuff in real life, I forget to get on the internet, and it goes like, 1 week goes by, and then I'm like, oh shit, I forgot, and I need to get back to it.
Whoa.
But like, it's not like somebody's like forcing me to come back, or I have no other choice. And
Yeah.
the internet is great when you get paid to do sponsorships or whatever. I have no sponsors, as you can probably tell, but the internet
had
is great
one.
when BetterHelp pays her like, I don't know, 10 grand or whatever she gets, because she probably gets a lot of money.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
it's just this dark, awful place when they catch on to her bullshit. Like, excuse me,
It's just a big
that's
old dog
kind of
pile.
very biased.
Oh, totally. I know.
Yeah.
And they all and these two play right into that hand and go, yes, I also experienced this hate thing that everyone just hates me. Da da da. It's like, okay, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really have sympathy. It's like, okay, then sign off and do something else if it really bothers you that much. Like, there's a difference between harassment and negative. Like, everyone's so also, Rachel saying like, oh, people were criticizing me for being a working mom. Okay, if that's not something that you think is wrong, then why would that comment even bother you? If it's like if you're confident in what you believe, which I think she claims to be at least, why would that even bother you? Be like, okay, well, we have different opinions. Who cares? Next, and move on. But she's like, I'm gonna never go on the internet again because someone said that I shouldn't be working. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not like she didn't say anything about being an exceptional mom, an exceptional wife, an exceptional boss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not like she set the standards so high and then she failed. She fell short of it, and suddenly people are like, "What, Rach? What about all the? This is how you become an exceptional, writing books about how to." Because lots of her books have to do with being a mom and stuff like that. So suddenly, when the people are buying the books and you're getting, again, it comes down to money again. When she gets money for it, suddenly being a working mom is good.
Yeah.
But when she's being criticized, well, what about being a working mom and you're not spending any time with your kids or whatever, suddenly
Hater, stop the
haters
hate.
in the dark pit of the internet is
Yeah.
onto her.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great. Follow the money always. That will solve all of your confusion. Anyone's confusion about anything, follow where the money is and you'll be cleared up very quickly. Okay.
Yes, that back in the day, social media was how we figured out what content was sticky. So you kind of try a concept like, hey guys, I've been thinking a lot about this. And if you got a big response, lots of people are like, oh, me too, I'm struggling with that. It sort of told you what to write about, or it told you what to make a YouTube video about. Now there's no testing. It's, if you want to post anything, you have to think and think and think, or you do what a lot of celebrities do where you're like, I'll just put a heart emoji. Like I'll say nothing. I'll post a picture and say nothing, which we're losing something in that. We're losing conversation. We're losing the ability to have a real discourse with people and maybe disagree, but that's okay because that's what you do with people in real life. But it has shifted and changed so much.
Most of the creators that I know, obviously work with a lot of them here, but then also some bigger names, like you said, when people like yourself, people like one like that used to engage in all these things. It's more now like, hey, I post and then I don't look at what people say.
Oh, not at all. Yeah.
And I think that, like to your point, I think that is unfortunate, but it's become such a place that like honestly engaging with a lot of like there is a I don't want to shit on everybody because I think actually the high majority of people are there for the right reasons. They're positive, they're good, they're living a great life. But the people that are there for the wrong reasons happen to be the loudest people.
Absolutely.
Right. And so it's like at some point you're not doing yourself or anyone else a service by engaging with the peanut gallery and going back and forth and fighting online with people hiding anonymously behind a keyboard. Right. Like it's not productive for anybody.
Well, I think.
Well, yeah. Speaking of that,
Matthew, I am doing myself a service because first of all, nobody in my real life is interested about Rachel Hollis. So I do need to speak to people that are interested because otherwise where will these thoughts go? And two, I make some money from this, So it is a service to myself. And I feel like that's something that Rachel is very capable of taking me like, they do this for money. It's like, but what do you do it for, Rach?
You do, yeah. Well, I hate this is the whole kind of message behind like the choose sadness, slogan. It's like, why is being there for the right reasons, quote unquote, equate with positivity? Why is that like the only reason you can go online and find meaning in some way is if you're there to praise the person that is posting content. That's the only right reason. It's like that's how you get into a mindset where you're worshiping dictators for no reason, like that's the kind of mentality of like you cannot think for yourself. You must be on the internet and always be positive no matter what you see. It's like, how is that not being totally ignorant? Completely.
It's not. It is, and it's a manipulative tactic that will reach some people, and she knows that she might reach some people who are in the comments and whatever, and they might be like, okay, I'm gonna take it a bit easier on her. Maybe I've been too harsh, whatever. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, that's not what she's annoyed by. What she's annoyed by is not. I don't even know if she knows who I am. She's annoyed that just so many people hate her, but she's like, she should just look inward and be like, okay, I've just fucked up really bad. Not just be like, all these people are wrong. All these like newspapers are wrong. Because the New York Times was not wrong when they published her book and she got on the New York Times bestseller list, but now they published an article against her. She's not saying, oh, the New York Times dogpiled, because she wants to be on the New York Times bestseller list again in the future. If she says anything about the New York Times, the New York Times will probably blacklist her. And she's not gonna say that. So she's gonna say the dark internet comments and the dark internet gossip and whatever.
Because it can't possibly be that this is an outlet for people who disagree with the self-help movement in general, or parts of it could have legitimacy, could have a legitimate thought, could have a legitimate critique. It can't be that. It has to be that person is poisoned or poison themselves, and it's only going to cause like harm if that person speaks out about their opinions. That's the setup, because there's
and
no
we are
universe.
poison. And I want to make it very clear, I am poison to the self-help industry. We are poison. We're slowly killing it.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to do that. That's what I'm here for. That's my job.
I love it. Yeah, it's literally our job, is to slowly suffocate the self-help space. I'm all for it. I'm here. I'm signed up. I'm ready to go. Okay, let's keep going.
So I have been relatively absent from social. I really only post if it's like in my feed, if it's something that I feel really strongly about, or I really want to make sure that they know about, or I'm just experiencing something where I'm like, this is so great. I went skiing for the first time this weekend with my 15-year-old son for his birthday, and I posted about it. But that's the first time I posted in 6 weeks, because for me personally, I want to live a really good life. I don't want to just have a life that looks good on Instagram.
So
Bullshit. She did it. She's not posting because people, every time she posts, are like, get off of here. Stop posting, you unrelatable girl. Girl, wash your timeline. So she only does it here once in a while. And also that was the time where she could have totally said her boyfriend, because he was in the Instagram post and she tagged him. So the fact that she didn't bring him up was like, what? What the heck? Why not?
Oh no.
I know. Trouble? No,
It's
I don't
as if
think so.
she came here with an agenda.
Yeah, weird. She has to look like nothing good came from it, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? Okay, sorry.
So we're gonna jump around here. When you posted, and everyone knows the post, and you got all of that flack and all of that pushback.
Yeah.
What was your intention? And I'm sure that factors into a lot of the things you post and how you think about it. But like, what was the intention, and how did you feel, obviously, about the response?
Right. So I was doing a live stream. Let's say it was like a Tuesday. I was doing a live stream. And on the live stream, I had this woman who was saying that she was suffering from severe depression. And she was asking me, she had so much guilt and shame because her house was messy. And I was like, okay, a couple of things that you could do. Number one, you could just be okay with a messy house. Like what matters most right now is your health. So you can focus on that. Or if you can afford it, get a housekeeper. And during that live stream, I started to get so much flack for saying that. Like, oh, you could get someone to come and clean your house once a month. And I got so much crap for saying that in the live stream. And then they started attacking me, which I'm very used to, but then they started being mean to her. And so that got me sort of, because I'm like, fuck you, dude. Like this woman just told you that she has severe depression. She just said that she feels shame about it. Don't dogpile. So I finished that live stream, and even talking about it now is like making my heart pound. And I finished that live stream, I just kept thinking about that, because when they were like, you're so unrelatable, I think. And I was like, I just sat with that for days or 24 hours or something. And I was like, wait, why would I want to be relatable? Like everything I've done in my life, trying to write a book, trying to have a podcast, all of this stuff is me trying to step outside of a narrative. So I thought, and I'm not the only one who feels like that. So I wanted to make a video about that, and I had TikTok. And so I was like, oh, this is what we're doing on TikTok right now, is making these videos. This is the definition of privilege, is that it never ever occurred to me how it would be taken.
Do you also think?
Okay. That whole thing is lies. Sweet little lies.
Yeah.
I'll show you why. Have you watched that live stream? I did not include this in my video because I didn't see it, but now in the comments, someone commented and said, here's the live stream of what, she was talking about. And it's bullshit. There was I shouldn't say that. I did not see there was any woman who had depression at all.
I remember something from back then when somebody said to her that you're unrelatable or something. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember a comment like that, but I don't remember the context of it.
So okay. What actually happens, and I see it happen here, is she goes on this whole thing, and we can play it, about like, oh, my tip in life or whatever is to get a housekeeper if you can afford it. Her name is like Sherry or something. Her name's Sherry, and I love her. She's great. And then someone commented and said, in the live stream, said, you're unrelatable AF. And she's like, oh yeah? And then she starts to get all, defensive. But there is no woman there, from what I can tell. So this is not maybe the perfect timing, but let's just play it, because I did not see this until this morning. So I was like, oh shit, like this is more proof than I ever thought existed still.
Whatever.
I missed you guys too. Everyone's saying you missed me. I appreciate it. I miss you too. You convinced me to hire a house cleaner. Yes, hire a house. The only reason to not have a house cleaner is because you can't afford it yet. And notice I said yet. But if you can afford a house cleaner and you don't have a house cleaner, what are you doing? Unless you like it. Do you like scrubbing your toilet? I don't like scrubbing my toilet. Look, I want to do the things that only I can do. This is the key to success.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it real quick. We're like 30 seconds.
Okay. So that's the first part. And she mentions toilets, which I don't think could have been taken in any other context this is what she created the video about. There's no woman with depression. Like I haven't seen, at least in relation to her her response. So let's keep going. Oh wait, hold on. Okay. Okay.
Like that.
I've got entrepreneurs. I know who's
that out.
Okay, hold on.
I've got dreamers. I've got entrepreneurs. I know who's in my community. You want to know how you get ahead. You want to know how you can be the most productive and the most effective. Do the things that only
Let's put the volume up a little bit.
Can someone, like, could I do the dishes? Yes. Can I scrub the toilet? Absolutely. Can someone else also, so that I can spend my time doing this live stream, writing a book, recording a podcast, which is the stuff that only I can do? Yes. So that's what we do. My girl comes twice a week.
My girl. Like, I don't like that language either.
Human ever. We love her, and she, you know, makes sure that, like, mold doesn't grow on the dishes in the sink.
Thank you, King Intern, for
Thank you.
this super chat. I appreciate that. I like your song, Tell Me Lies. Tell me sweet little lies. We'll probably we're going to get demonetized now because we sang a song.
So where is the woman with depression?
MIA. Maybe she's in Rachel's mind. Maybe this is her new character in the book she's writing because she does not exist.
Oh, Rach.
But it gets better because now she's going to talk about the relatable part. So every part of the story is pretty much true, except the biggest and most important part, that she was not defending anybody. She was not like the hero that was stepping up for this poor woman with depression. And beside the lies and like the obvious, like try to move on, you know, make this narrative sound better. If someone has serious depression or severe depression, whatever she said, and asks her a question, instantly should say, go see a doctor, go to therapy. I am not your guru, you know, like I can only help you so much. The first thing needs to be go seek help, please, because, you know, that's the best thing you can do.
And she's being so patronizing because it's like, oh, do you like cleaning toilets? I don't. Like, I could do something else with that time and whatever. So that's the problem that people have. And she just fails to grasp it. She doesn't understand. She's being so patronizing and demeaning because, like, we all have, like, I have to clean. You know, I don't have a cleaner. So I'm like, it's like, she's not just being patronizing to some people. She's being patronizing to pretty much like billions of people on this planet.
And I like how she's
don't have.
Yeah, I like how she's like, oh, in my community, I have entrepreneurs, dreamers, whatever. Aren't most people who have, well, not most, but some people who do clean houses, that's entrepreneurial work. If you own your own business where you're going around to different homes and cleaning them. So is that not included? So that person, you know, has to clean your shit from the toilet, but, you know, is not also doing exactly what you're saying is like so aspirational. It's bullshit. It's like this fake girl boss persona of like, I have a podcast. Oh yeah, that's really important to the world. Thanks so much. Like no one else could do a podcast.
Yeah. Oh no, there's not like 1,000,000,000 men on TikTok saying all sorts of things.
Like every self-help person has a fucking podcast. Like we get it. You're gonna tell us your morning routine. We got it. Cool. But okay, now this is when she starts to read the comments about the unrelatable part. But go ahead. Sorry.
She's positioning herself as above just so many people, like, because oh my god, I could write a book and I could do this and that, not like you, like awful poor people who can't afford it and you have to clean. Like, what? Just can you just stop? You're not doing any, you're not saving lives, you're not like doing rocket science, you're just writing about your own poop. Literally, she wrote about like farts in her book. So you know what I mean? Like, chill out, Rachel. You're not like the savior of this world.
I want to be relatable.
She's like, oh my god, I'm Jesus. Like, gee, just calm down. You're just an influencer like so many others.
I know. And I mean, the fame and all that just got to her head and it resulted in a nightmare for everybody. But okay, this is where she starts to get clapbacky, as she says.
Thank you, Sherry. We appreciate you.
I don't know, like it just littling. I'm thinking, fair business are certain more for the house. There's no like if you like important problem awkward or
sorry
happy the like give the
come on. Okay.
I just start a group.
Hearing her out because we have like 9 minutes left of the clip.
Let's see. Had to start a group to support mindset and move energy for peace of mind. We've been so uncomfortable. It's real.
She's just doing like Q&As basically.
Doesn't mean that you are in danger. And then Nick just posted to sign up for our free
This is where it's gonna freeze out for a minute. Like it's a be able to live.
What a fabulous feeling after the cleaner leaves and the house is spotless, right? And what's so funny, am I the only one that like they clean for you and it's like somehow you're just like, oh, my life, we're gonna be fine. Like before Sherry gets here versus after Sherry gets here, I'm like, we got it. These poor kids, they can't stop me. Look how clean this pantry is. Cool. Let's see. Here we go. I want to read. Okay, ask questions. I love all these comments. Let's see.
It's coming.
Amira said, "Are running." Yeah, sure. In her, that's just sometimes I do kind of. I also
see it
on things.
It's almost there, I promise.
Juggle a bajillion things and still take care of yourself, because taking care of myself is my number one priority. If y'all didn't see it, I don't know, like a week ago or maybe 2 weeks ago.
Ooh, this was something.
How do you juggle the bajillion things and still take care of yourself? Because taking care of myself is my number one priority.
Practice hard too, because I have physical people. While still, girl, priority line day it was me, but I rather than bitch out one shower, the house spot physical center.
And what a week ago?
Absolutely. Okay, let's get back to it.
We're almost there, I promise.
Finish it.
I don't know, like a week ago or maybe 2 weeks ago, I wrote a post on the word selfish and how often I think the word selfish is used to manipulate and control women, especially. I think many of us got that word thrown at us or wrapped around us since we were little girls.
It's gonna block out again. To them as such, she does.
That makes like there's,
and she's
either someone is calling you selfish or you feel selfish because like there's someone else involved and you're like, oh, I shouldn't take this time to go on my run. I shouldn't take this time to go to the gym. How dare I want to go get a massage? How dare I want to like take a nap? Because that's selfish, right? So
right.
Like I'm gonna comment on this. I usually don't see these, but I'm gonna do it.
Here it comes.
I assume that you're saying privilege AF about having a housekeeper? Hell yeah, it is. It absolutely is. And I'm super aware of that.
Oh, sorry guys. I
just my house forever. I grew up with no money and I clean my house forever. And it is a privilege to have someone who can come in and do that. But I also worked my ass off to get to the place where I could afford that in my life. And I chose that really early on. Like I will sacrifice other things in my life to have help with that. It is a privilege, but when you add the words.
Okay, so I was triggered. The fact that
that's basically it. Where was this depression woman?
There was no depression woman.
No depression woman. So we cracked the case, everybody. It's bullshit. This story,
guys, if you didn't know, Rachel is spinning a narrative. If nobody was aware already, but if you're here, you knew. You knew. And if you didn't know, you know now. This is Rachel spinning narratives. So suddenly, just her saying she's privileged and she doesn't clean and she has people cleaning her toilets, that's it, just toilets. The woman comes, cleans the toilet, leaves. That's it. And basically, it wasn't a good enough story. It didn't have the sad factor. So we needed to add a depression woman in that story. Rachel is a writer. She knows that stories need a little bit of a narrative. You need an inciting incident, and her inciting incident needed to have a little sad bit to it, and how can you add that? And what's sad? Depression. So depression woman.
Depression woman, it's like they're like synonyms basically these days in her eyes.
Yeah.
The thing that bothers me too, it's like, okay, so if she gets called out and someone says like, I'm probably gonna do a follow-up video because it's too good not to, or like a short or something where it's like literally she's lying. Here are the reasons why. But like so if like, let's say that got back to her and someone asked her and said, you lied, why? And she's like, oh, that time was so overwhelming. I probably mixed 2 live streams together and I was so overwhelmed. I did so many live streams, I couldn't remember. So now she's already backed up like the claim that she was so, didn't remember anything, doesn't know anything. So if someone calls her out, it's like, oh, well, I guess I'm really dumpy and I don't know nothing.
Yeah. And Isn't it funny just how the words she used in this clip are literally the almost exact words that she used in that TikTok. This is not a one-time thought.
No.
This is not just the one and done. I made a mistake. I'm sorry for what I said. She said this here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm privileged. Oh, like Jesus Christ. Could you be more patronizing? Like, I feel like I just channeled Chandler. Could you be more patronizing?
Oh man, and you know, and I don't know how it is in Europe or like outside the United States, but there's when you commit a crime, especially like a murder, it's like first degree or second degree. And first degree is when you plan it and you go through with it. Like you think about it, you hire somebody, and then they ask you like, are you sure you want to do this? And you're like, yup. That's when it gets bumped up to first degree, as opposed to a second degree, where second degree is like you're in the heat of the moment, you're having a fight and somebody dies. Like that's different. Or like you decide that day, that moment, like, you know, it's whatever.
Like it's not premeditated.
Yeah, not premeditated. Exactly. This, I would say, if this was like, you know, in the court, the content court, she's first degree because she said it. She said it in the live stream. She got it off her chest, and then she went later, hit record, and recorded the same thing, thinking that that was a good idea. So there's no way you could say it was a passionate moment that just came over me. Nope, you had time to think about it, plan it, say that, and then you decide to post it and repost it to Instagram. Guilty as charged, go to jail.
Yeah. Go to content jail.
Go to Facebook where no one is anymore, okay?
My parents are there.
Exactly.
Please don't go there, Rach.
I heard about this new woman named Rachel Hollis. Like, oh my God.
Oh my God. They don't speak English. I can't even send them to my channel. Be like, look.
Like, oh, she's doing translations now. It's all new. It's fresh ideas. Start your day at 4 a.m. Woo, it's going to change my life. Okay, and just a warning, we're going to have to do a part 2 because it's already 2:50 basically.
Yeah.
So just a warning, we're going to stop. We're only 22 minutes in. We have a lot to also cover. So maybe we can either do a different day or we can just do this next week. Oh, thank you, Samantha. Samantha B says, she gave us a super chat and says, but also, hold on.
Hi, Samantha. Thank you so much.
She knew she was doing this podcast. She could have looked back at that live stream. Yeah, 100%. She said she doesn't remember anything about anything is basically her stance on all that. Thank you for the
her
super
memory
chat.
just somehow got wiped. I don't know. Maybe Tony Robbins did a little, thing on her. I don't know.
She gave up her memory in the divorce settlement. She
sold her memory to the devil instead of her firstborn. Okay. So we could do the part 2 on Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Let us know, everyone. Does that work for you? Put it in the chat below. We have some time, though. We don't have to stop yet, but maybe I'll put it back to regular speed so we can all hear it in a normal sounding way.
Although I like the Matthew guy. I'm just being so like
Michael.
sped up. I loved it. Michael. Oh,
whatever.
Yeah, that's okay. I want to be patronizing too. It's okay.
little Matthew? Is that your name?
Whatever.
Okay. So that was very vindicating for me to have confirmation that because I was like, well, my gut tells me that she's lying. But I don't have proof, so, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Now, I don't have to give her anything, and it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was B. Haney on YouTube, you guys.
Yeah,
and I watch her. She's in our community, I guess. I've never spoken to her, but I watch her all the time. So
I comment on her stuff, and she'll comment back, but that's it. But I'm a stan. I'm a fan. I like her stuff a lot, and
same.
Shout, go sub her, and then say like, We're here from Cam and Kia, so then she'll like us.
We're here from Cringe-Fluencers.
Cringe-Fluencers. They love you, and we're here for that. And then she'll like us. That's my goal.
Please like us, B. Haney. We like you.
B. Haney.
There is a depression woman. Like if you like us back.
Like, I hate B. Haney. And then like she's like, I heard that you said you hated me. Like, no, this depression woman was saying that she didn't like you, and I was saying I liked you.
And I was saying, in order to get over your depression, you need to
Watch
you need
your
to
channel.
like be Haney.
But thank God she did that and she recorded that when she did. That was clutch.
Yeah.
I can't
No,
believe I didn't
thank
see
you very
that.
much for that.
Anyways, okay. Back to Skinny Confidential.
That you were so distracted with everything that's going on. You've got kids, what you were going through with your husband.
Yeah.
The book, the six, like it's like so
1,000,000%
much that like maybe you like weren't even along, you mentioned privilege, but you weren't even thinking the ramifications.
No. And so my best friend said something so great. She's like, there's a big difference between your intention and your impact. Your intention was like, oh, I want to speak to
God, no
other
way.
people like me. And
What?
No way, her best friend knew? Like,
Her best friend knew.
is she going to like university for impact or something? Because like, how did she know this grand lesson?
My best
Because
friend told
Rachel
me.
was already an influencer.
I know.
Rachel was already an influencer. She had no idea because she didn't dive that deep into the studies. You know, like
No. She only watches hours of podcasts and reads books to then regurgitate.
who is this friend? Rosie?
No, I think she's talking about Beans because then she brings her up again when she talks about the racial part of this whole thing about the Harriet Tubman.
Sounds like Beans is smart.
Yeah, she's
sounds
an influencer and she hasn't like there's pictures of her and Rachel like in today's time, but she wasn't a part of Rise. She doesn't have anything to do with the brand, so I don't know if she's taken a step back or what, because she hasn't been featured with Rachel except for like in an Instagram post that Rachel's posted, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Recently, at least. Anyways.
maybe inspire, whatever, but your impact is what you have to take responsibility for. And I like the amount of therapy, coaching, processing, books, like what has happened because of that experience. I am a different human because of the experience.
It would be strange if you weren't.
Right. But I think what's really interesting is that the internet wanted, I don't know how to say this, like they wanted me to, it's like a math teacher saying, show your work. So they wanted, show us what you're doing. Tell us about, which to me felt like it's performative. You know, those when people mess up or a celebrity says something or whatever, and then they get on the internet and they're like, look at me.
I was waiting for you to do a song like We Are the World.
Right. They're like, look at me doing the work, or here's the stack of books that I'm reading. And I thought for me to actually do something to really change and understand how I made a mistake and not do it again, I have to actually do the work. And that's not something I'm going to show on social media.
So let me ask you a really blunt and honest question. Do you feel like the punishment fit the crime? Meaning like, do you, for everyone's aware of the comment and what you did and what you said and all that, but do you feel the way you got?
You don't think so?
No, she barely got any punishment.
Oh, she did. She got punishment. I think she did because I went to the virtual Rise and knowing how she is, or how I think she is as a person, that was probably the biggest ego drop in history when she only sold like 20 tickets when she was selling out 8,000 seat arenas just a year before. That's got to be the worst punishment for her.
But that's just her coming back to zero, where she should have been in terms of ego. Like her ego should have never like
ballooned.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The standard shouldn't be that high inflated ego. The standard should be this.
Agreed.
So I feel like she's just come back to base. Okay. So where's the punishment? The punishment is going below base, not come back to base.
Okay.
Oh, thank you so much. Acacia Davis.
Acacia. I love that name. Is that how you pronounce it? I love it.
I have no idea, but like I think Spanish. Acacia.
Acacia. They say, please play Talking About Peace. No, I'm talking about buying my book.
Yeah.
I don't have that clip clipped. I need to. I don't know if it was you or someone else asked for that specific soundbite. The only problem with it, it's like he talks so fast at that moment that it's like gets cut off. But I'm gonna try it because that's a good one. But in place of that, I will play the song.
Why do you follow me if you don't
You don't
already
already
own my
own
book?
my book.
So thank you for that. We appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I think I can understand a little bit of what she's saying, sort of, but with like a very tiny bit of it. Like, well, being performative, I don't like being performative either. Like, I think Heidi and Dave going to Dominican Republic for like a trip and saying like, oh, we're saving the Dominican Republic from itself was performative. I don't think if you're talking about, if you showed some books that you're reading and you actually are reading them, I don't think that's really a problem to me, personally.
The thing I feel with this statement is a bit more dark than that. I think Rachel has been criticized a lot about the fact that she has not responded when the Black Lives Matter movement was going on. Like,
Yeah.
she was one of the very few people who never said anything about it.
Still hasn't, I don't think.
Yeah, and like right now, for example, with the war, she didn't even mention it. She literally like posted I don't know how many episodes. Like, she doesn't care about these things, and I think this is her just being like, I don't like to be performative, as an explanation to why she doesn't
Talk.
do make any effort. And she will talk about her conversation with what did you guys say her friend's name was?
Beans
Beans.
Baron.
Yeah, she will talk about her conversation with Beans about performative activism and stuff like that. But like, Rachel has not done any activism, so I'm not quite sure what part of it would have been performative when there is none.
Yeah. Well, she's like, well,
Performative or not.
That's why I didn't do it. It's like, oh, okay, so what did you do? I mean,
So it's
yeah.
just ignore the issue exists and move on with your life and take your money, and that's it.
And run. Because she talks about literally everything else, like in her own life. I guess she doesn't talk about like world events, and I don't necessarily want to know her opinion on world events. But
I don't know, on like Rach Talk, she talks about all sorts of nonsense, like conspiracy theories and like Barbie. Like, why can't you throw in a little war?
A little something for the humanitarians in the audience. Yeah, I don't know. Did you watch her recent Rach Talk, by the way? Because I think we're gonna wrap in the next couple minutes. So we'll stop it there. We'll stop it at 24 minutes, 23:59.
Okay.
24 minutes in. So we got a little bit left. A lot left,
Yeah.
actually.
I have not watched her recent Rach Talk, but I want to, and I want to make a video about this as well. But I don't know if it will be redundant at this point, but I might anyway.
Yeah,
So
I don't think so. I think the more coverage it gets, probably the better, honestly.
But I feel like she needs to know that she's not off the hook yet.
No, I think she thinks there's a chance, and she might keep trying, but no, it ain't happening for me. I'm all for it. Again, I find it more and more unlikely as time goes on. But oh my God, my cat brought in a lizard. Oh no. Stop it. Don't bring that over to me. Oh my God, it's okay. Sorry. I can't show you because I'm stuck here. Okay.
So you guys, Kyla might die right now. So just say goodbye.
I know.
Subscribe in case she dies.
She doesn't bring me lizards. I'm like, oh my God. Okay.
You guys live in a different world. Like, I have never seen a lizard.
Florida, man. And I just gave her flea medicine, so I was like, okay, I'll let her out, let her have fun. Now she's eating lizards. Okay, good.
Lovely. Well, I hope you survive.
Thank
and
you.
if you don't, we have this clip to remember you by.
Yeah, if I don't ever sign on again, the lizard got me. It's like this small, by the way. It's like tiny, tiny. It just was like
okay.
in her mouth that it was coming at me for a second.
Well, thank you everyone for being here.
Yes.
And for witnessing Kayla's demise.
It's a slow demise. They're watching it in real time, as they would say. I'm inside of the demise currently.
It's gonna lick you to death or something.
Yeah, I know. You never know these days. These days on the internet, they're horrible. So, it might happen.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back then
All right.
Sunday then. We'll decide on a time later.
Yes. Probably relatively similar if you're available at that time.
Yeah, I like that time.
Okay.
That's a chill time.
Yeah. Let's hope that our time zones like adjust, because right now
I know, you'll
they
be
haven't. But
You'll be sitting here by yourself like, oh, where is she? It's like 2 hours different. Like, oh, I'm ready to watch the episode. But we'll post in the community.
right.
We'll tell everybody what it is.
yeah. Well, I
Officially.
mean, we always want to, and we just like forget. But
I know.
we will try to remember.
Yeah, we'll be better. One day we'll be better. We'll get our redemption arc. We'll remember times and start to post it at some point.
Yeah.
We'll get canceled first.
We
and then
will.
we'll
We
do
will learn from this someday.
it. I don't want to be performative, so I actually won't do what I'm saying.
No, I will keep being lazy because I've not yet been cancelled. So it's all good.